day, everyone. Welcome to another way of learning. At the end of this video, you'll able to first define stage fright. Second, identify the symptoms of stage fright. And the third one, determine ways and strategies on how to overcome stage fright. Stage fright, also known as glossophobia, is a type of anxiety that describes the feeling of anxious when speaking or performing in front of a group of people. In general, stage fright is a colloquial term used to describe the fear of public speaking or performance anxiety. So, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, this fear impacts approximately 73% of the population, making it the most commonly cited fear. So this stage fright can occur to anyone, even in people who regularly speak or perform before crowds. So me myself, I also experience stage fright. And many professional athletes, actors, and musicians also report instances of feeling insecure or anxious. So some people can avoid public speaking, avoid dealing with this fear, and others face it on a routine basis. Now, let's talk about when and where does stage fright happen and what are the types of stage fright. So, let's first tackle when and where does stage fright happen. So, this stage fright can happen in any settings where you feel worried about being judged for your performance. It may emerge in front of large audience and in front of smaller, intimate groups or one-on-one settings. So, a person may experience stage fright during the following events: job interviews, class presentations, exercise classes, work meetings, speaking to a customer service representative, making small talk with strangers, and making speeches or toasts. So we can experience stage fright anytime and anywhere. Now let's proceed to the types of stage fright. So you may be confused to hear that there is more than one type of stage fright, and the kind of stage phobia you have is depending on what type of presentations you give in public. So, like for example, a singer will have a different kind of fear than most public speakers. So, they have different types of stage fright when doing public speaking or performing in front of many people. So, the most common types of stage fright you will experience are known as anticipation, avoidance, anxiety, and panic. And with that, it is important to work on your fear of speaking before you make it to the stage of panic. After you reach the panicking stage, it can be harder to help yourself calm down. So don't let yourself reach the panicking stage. So the type of fear you experience also depends on what kind of presentation or performance you are giving. Like for example, musicians and vocalists may be afraid of not only appearing in front of a crowd, but anxious about how their performance will go. So, and if you're giving a speech, you may be afraid of messing up, forgetting what you were going to say, or even worried about your body language. Now, let's proceed to the symptoms of stage fright. You think you may be experiencing stage fright but not quite sure. So here are some major symptoms you should know about. So symptoms can be different for everyone, but many are the same for the majority of sufferers. And remember, some people may suffer from less than others, so it can be milder for some performers than for others. So the symptoms of stage fright are categorized into three. So there are three symptoms of stage fright: the physiological symptoms of stage fright, the cognitive symptoms of stage fright, and the behavioral symptoms of stage fright. So now let us first tackle the physiological symptoms of stage fright. Physiological symptoms of stage fright is that you will know if you have this kind of stage fright when your heart begins to race. You know that you have to get up in front of a group and deliver a speech. So you may also experience sweaty hands or sweaty palms because these are significant signs of nervousness. So you may start to tremble all over, your voice can tremble as well, but you may notice it most in your hands. So you will have dry mouth in a common symptoms of many types of anxiety, including fear of public speaking. In severe cases, you may develop symptoms such as nausea, blurred vision, and you may also feel like you are going to faint. So, among other causes, poor breathing habits can also contribute to causing or worsening your stage fright. So, you will try to take slow, deep, calm breath in order to minimize your anxiety and maximize your success. Now let's proceed to the cognitive symptoms of stage fright. So these cognitive symptoms of stage fright is all about in your mind or brain. So you will find it hard to concentrate, especially on the day of your presentation. Anxiety and avoidance feelings are most likely to develop. Some people may even have their fight or flight response triggered and they want to run far away. And you may have a negative evaluation of your abilities and performance skills. You may also have increased awareness, including being too focused on oneself, not the task. And you will also have distorted perception in which during the presentation, various signs are interpreted in the wrong way than they really are by the audience. So for the behavioral symptoms of stage fright is that this means that among other things, blunt or too expressive presentations, problem with presentation rhythm, reading errors, and other behavioral changes such as irritation, audience avoidance, and many more. So again, the symptoms of stage fright are categorized into physiological symptoms of stage fright, cognitive symptoms of stage fright, and the behavioral symptoms of stage fright. And if you're wondering what causes stage fright or why are we having or experiencing stage fright, so there's more than one cause of stage fright. And what causes stage fear for you may be different than what causes it for someone else. So it is mostly your brain playing tricks on you, so you will have to learn to stop listening to it. So now let's take a look at these 8 most common causes of stage fright. So for the first causes of stage fright is that you are letting your nerves get the best of you. So this one is one of the biggest cause of stage fright, is letting your nerves and negative mentality gets the best of you. So if you have a fear of public speaking, then it's time to get out of your head and conquer that anxiety. So for most people, there are usually both physical and mental components of stage fright. So these components reinforce each other. Making it worse, sometimes you may just need to change your perspective, your way of perspective, and anticipating that things will go wrong does not help you set the stage for success. Next is having a previous bad experience. So having a bad experience on stage in the past can also cause fear in the future. So you need to re-evaluate and work through what happened that caused you to have a bad experience. Were you underprepared for your presentation? Was something wrong with the venue? So that's the question you have. So don't let one lousy presentation affect your potential for future success. Next is that you already have social anxiety or another anxiety disorder. So another cause is if you have already social anxiety and other anxiety disorder, people with pre-existing anxiety are much more likely to experience stage fright, as well as a multitude of other anxiety issues. So if in this case, seeking help from a therapist may be the best result for your anxiety problems. So the next one is fear of failure. So it has been also described as the fear of social situations where a person has a strong fear of negative evaluation of a field performance. And a person suffering from social anxiety disorder believes that they behave unacceptably and as a result is abandoned by others. So the mere idea of failure is damaging to one's self-esteem. In number 5, fear of appearing nervous in front of the audience. So this one is the most important point you need to make. Even seasoned performers and successful entrepreneurs also get nervous before going in front of their people. And it's natural, normal part of being human. So it is important to understand that you may benefit from knowing that it is usually not visible. So your nervousness is not visible to other people you're talking to. So this means that your audience cannot usually tell how nervous you are while you are speaking to them. So the next one is negative thoughts before your presentation. So thoughts can reflect how we interpret and value what's happening around us. So sometimes these evaluations are accurate, sometimes very optimistic. However, if a person is anxious, they tend to see everything in a negative light and to interpret it as a threat. So we're talking about compulsive thoughts such as I am considered foolish and annoying. Everyone's looking at me and thinks I'm weird. Others don't like me. I only say unusual things. So that is the example of negative thoughts you have before your presentation. So you must get away with it. So for the next one, second to the last, perfectionism and comparing themselves to others. So and finally, this one is another major reason why people develop stage fright is because of perfectionism and comparing themselves to others. So you must stop comparing yourself to other public speakers. You are you, and you're not a carbon copy of someone else. Besides, the person you're comparing yourself to is probably come a long way and battled stage fright in the past as well. So stop comparing yourself to others. And for the last one, fear of being in the center of attention or scophobia. So this one type of social anxiety disorder that is characterized by a morbid fear of being seen or stared by others. So a person who suffers from a phobia tries to avoid such events like public speaking, talking in front of many people, or perceives them with great discomfort. So, to sum it up, the most common causes of stage fright are: first, you are letting your nerves get the best of you. Second, having a previous bad experience. Third, you already have social anxiety or another anxiety disorder. Fourth, fear of failure. Fifth, fear of appearing nervous in front of the audience. Sixth, negative thoughts before your presentation. 7. Perfectionism and comparing themselves to others. And number 8 is fear of being in the center of attention or scopophobia. Now, let's proceed on how are we going to overcome stage fright. So, let's consider these ways, strategies, or tips in overcoming the stage fright. So, first, you need to practice beforehand. Spend some time familiarizing yourself with your material and practice as much as you reasonably can until things feel more natural. So, if possible, practice in front of trusted loved ones and ask for feedback. Ask them what you're doing well and what they think you need to improve. So for the second one, tell yourself a positive mantra. So before you enter a challenging situation, it's a good idea to give yourself a small pep talk. To things keep simple, consider developing a mantra that helps ground you. So, like for example of positive mantras include, even if I feel nervous, I came across as confident. Next one is, I am going to do great job. I can do this. Aja, this situation is so temporary. I can do it and finish it. So that is the example of positive mantra you have to try. So for the next one, practice positive visualization. So spend some time imagining yourself succeeding at the scary, daunting task. What do you envision? So you need to close your eyes and meditate on this scene for a while. Think about how it feels to completely succeed and to ease with your audience. Imagine the lightness in your body when you are in the front and while you are speaking. So for the next one, stick with what works and what you know. So if you don't normally wear high heels, don't choose your presentation as the day you wear them. And if you don't like making wisecracks, don't force yourself to be funny to fit in. Instead, try to stick with what you already know works and you already know what you are doing. Next one is expose yourself to speaking situations often. So to get better at mastering stage fright, you must place yourself in situations where you need to practice this skill. Commit to speaking more in group meetings, offer to attend business lunches, or lead the presentations. Sit in the front of the room while taking a spin class and talk as much as possible. Next is physical activity. Stress can be reduced by supporting movements, gestures, and facial expressions. The appropriate use of body language improves both one's own condition and the effect on the audience. So a change of location or having a supporting movements, gestures, and facial expressions can also serve as a strategy. Next is that you need to keep calm. So don't rush your speech or presentation. Start slow and allow yourself time to get into a comfortable pace. Take time to get used to the audience and offer the audience the necessary time to get used to you. Again, these are the ways, strategies, or tips you can use in overcoming stage fright. So, practice beforehand, tell yourself a positive mantra, practice positive visualization, stick with what works and what you know, and expose yourself to speaking situation often, do physical activity, and keep calm. And if these strategies, ways, tips still don't work on you, you need to see a therapist or professional who is an expert with that kind of problem. So you need to seek for a doctor or a therapist that who is very expert in dealing with that problem. Now, let's take a look to this example situation about how people struggle with stage fright. Jim Carrey was put off performing almost for life after a dreadful experience as a stand-up comic when he was 15. It was horrific, he said. Looking back, my mother dressed me in a polyester suit, which was a big mistake. At the club, they loved nothing better than for somebody to come into who definitely wasn't him. Then they'd proceed to destroy them, to basically skin them alive on stage. As the audience chanted, "Crucify him!" the club host repeated into his microphone, "Totally boring." It took Kerry 2 years to get back on a stage. But it's a good job he did. Otherwise, he may have missed out on mainstream Hollywood success decades later. Therefore, most people experience stage fright, and it can feel uncomfortable and frustrating. However, therapy, reaching out to a support network, and practicing positive coping skills can provide you with relief. And it's possible to overcome your anxiety and feel more confident when you perform. I know that we all experience this kind of fear, but that fear is not permanent. And it's absolutely possible to overcome most of the fear and learn to perform without excess anxiety. With the right mindset and skills, people can learn how to feel more comfortable in social situations. Laban lang! We can all fight it. I know that because we are all strong. Walang susuko. Kaya natin to! So that's the end of my report about stage fright and on how to overcome it. I hope you learned something for today's discussion. Thank you for watching.